Hello. The Oscars are tonight, and let's take a little journey back to 2018, to the year that we all want to forget. We're going to be looking at my top 10 movies of 2018. I'm also going to be mentioning our other writers' top 10s as well from the last year. So let's jump right on into it. I don't have anything funny this time. All right, number 10. We have Leave No Trace, directed by Deborah Granick. It stars Thomasin McKenzie and Ben Foster. I believe this is Thomasin McKenzie's first performance, and she is absolutely killer. This movie is the slowest of slow burns. I was really tired going into this movie. I almost fell asleep a few times, and I feel bad saying that because I really enjoyed the movie. It's just it was so slow that it didn't necessarily keep my blood pumping. But the movie's so sweet, and the relationship between the father and the daughter is just so wonderfully constructed. At number 9, I have Revenge, directed by Coralie Fargiat. I think she's French. I don't know. And it is a French film about a woman who survived an attempted murder, oh so barely. This movie is gruesome, both in its visuals and in its thematics. It's about a woman trying to get revenge on the people who tried to kill her, and it is a nail biter, and she is awesome in this movie. I was cringing the whole time, but I loved it. I can't recommend it more. Well, I guess I can because it's number 9. At number 8, we have Mandy by Panos Cosmatos. This is a Nick Cage movie making a top 10. When's the last time Nick Cage made a top 10 worthy movie? I'm gonna look that up and put it right around here. Probably Raising Arizona or one of those movies he did back then. But in this movie, it's another revenge flick. Nick Cage's wife is murdered by a cult, and he gets revenge on this cult, and it is wonderful. So this film has a beautiful score directed by Johan Johannesson. Rest in peace. It is very sad to see him go. He has done some of my favorite movies scores, and it has incredible cinematography by a lad by the name of Benjamin Loeb, Loeb, Lieb. This movie is stunning to look at, and it's a lot of fun. It's basically just a cheesy B movie from the 80s, except it came out last year, and I love every second of it. It might not be critically, I think it did pretty well critically, but it might not be typical of what you would think of a best movie of the year, but I think this one is like an immediate cult classic, I think is what I called it whenever I watched it for the first time. At number 7, I have Black Klansman, directed by Spike Lee and starring Alec Baldwin, John David Washington, and a few other people like Adam Driver. Adam Driver is currently nominated for Best Supporting Actor, I believe, which I'm here for. I loved this movie. I thought it was very relevant. Spike Lee is very known for making movies that are very relevant with what's going on, whether it be Do the Right Thing or Chirac or all of those kinds of movies. Also, John David Washington. I'm not sure if he's been in other stuff before right now. Maybe I'll put something up if he has been. But John David Washington is Denzel Washington's son, and he puts in a very fun performance. The whole premise of this movie is very fun, and I honestly loved every second of it. I thought it was very funny, but also very tense and kind of sad at times. Not the whole time. It's a comedy. At number 6, I have Bad Times at the El Royale. This is directed by Drew Goddard, who is known for directing Cabin in the Woods, which is another one of my favorite movies. Unlike Cabin in the Woods, this one isn't filled with as much direct satire, Cabin in the Woods being a direct satire of horror movies and all of those kinds of tropes. This movie feels a lot more Tarantino-esque in that it's about a group of people all stuck in one place, and everyone's got something else going on. Everyone has different motives for being there. It stars Jeff Bridges, John Hamm, Dakota Johnson, Chris Hemsworth, and Cynthia Erivo. It's probably Erivo. And honestly, everyone in this movie brings a great performance. This movie's so fun and so intriguing. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, just watching each of these people and wondering what they had going on. The movie's a lot of fun, and I don't think it got enough. I don't think it got enough recognition throughout its run. At number 5, I have You Were Never Really Here, directed by Lynn Ramsey, starring Joaquin Phoenix and a bunch of other people I don't really know. So he plays a bounty hunter who is trying to save this little girl who is the daughter of a senator, and she's kidnapped and basically sold into sex slavery. And he also gets dragged in himself along the way and brings his own personal motives. The movie's very dark and very deep. It also is just wonderfully directed by Lynn Ramsey. She's one of the biggest snubs, I think, for the director category. At number 4, I have The Favorite, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, starring Olivia Colman, Rachel Weisz, and Emma Stone. This movie is one that I hold very highly. It's tied for the most Oscar nominations of the year with Roma, including Best Picture, Supporting Actress for 2 actresses, and Leading Actress, all of which I would be fine if they win. This movie is a period piece, more a comedy than anything. It's about a queen and her maids who battle for the affection of the queen, and it is so fun and so funny and honestly pretty dark. It's a lot of fun. Yorgos Lanthimos is one of my favorite directors working today. He's done The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's been one of the most fun directors to watch as he's come the past few years, and I fully expect this movie to take a lot home at the Oscars. At number 3, I have Hereditary, directed by Ari Aster, starring Alex Wolff, Toni Collette, Millie Shapiro, and a few other people. This movie wrecked me. I saw this in the theater with my roommate, and I couldn't have expected what we got. This movie shook each of us, and it stuck with me. Honestly, it still sticks with me. Every time I've rewatched it, I've just left feeling this haunting feeling in my gut. That's not good imagery, but I'm going to keep it in. Keep it in. Toni Collette is one of, I know I said this about Lynn Ramsey, but Toni Collette is probably the biggest snub of the year. She honestly deserved Best Actress. I think she deserved to win it, but she didn't even get nominated, which isn't surprising. The Oscars have never been huge fans of horror movies, but Toni Collette delivers an amazing performance as a grieving mother and as just a woman trying to handle all of this mess. I can't say anything. This movie is messed up. At number 2, I have Blindspotting. Blindspotting was actually my number 1 from the time I saw it in July all the way until I saw my number 1 in December. This movie is directed by Carlos Lopez Estrada, and it stars Rafael Cazal, and David Diggs. Diggs and Cazal also wrote the film, and it is so wonderful. It is so fun. It's another comedy. It's kind of a dramedy, if you will. It's about a white guy and a black guy in Oakland trying to just exist. The black guy just got out of jail, and he's trying to turn his life around, but his white friend is basically just trying to get him into trouble, and hilarity ensues, and yet also the movie is heartbreaking and so deep. It is wonderfully written. There's a lot of flow to a lot of the dialogue that's just so much fun, and it just drives the movie forward in such a creative way. I think it's one of the most creative movies of the year. And my favorite film of the year, believe it or not, is a foreign film. It is a movie from Japan entitled Shoplifters. It is directed by, I'm gonna try to say some of these names. It is directed by Hirokazu Korida, and it stars Lily Frankie, Sakura Ando, Kirin Kiki, Mayu Matsuoka, Joe Kairi, and Miyu Sasaki. Sure. I think that was fine. That was probably okay. I don't know. This movie is about a family who finds a young girl on a doorstep, cold, and she looks hungry. So they take her in and they feed her and more or less adopt her without telling anybody, which sounds like kidnapping. And maybe they get into that. This movie is beautiful. It is so much fun. It really delves into the idea of a strange family dynamic, almost like it almost delves into ideas of adoption. It basically gives an insight into the lives of a Japanese family who seems pretty normal. I should say a low income Japanese family, just trying to get by at whatever means necessary. And they just get into so much stuff. It's so sweet, and it's honestly, I think, far and away the best movie of the year. Granted, I haven't seen Roma, Vice, I haven't seen Green Book, I haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse, If Beale Street Could Talk. Yeah, I haven't seen those movies. So before we go, I'm also going to share our other writers' top 10s for the year. We've got Tucker Ficklin. His top 10 were at 10, A Quiet Place, Leave No Trace, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Crazy Rich Asians, Black Klansman, The Favorite, If Beale Street Could Talk, Hereditary, Eighth Grade, and Beautiful Boy. They also all gave honorable mentions. He says Isle of Dogs and Black Panther, and he wanted me to say that he thought Roma was trash. I'll be putting Tucker's Twitter handle somewhere over here if you want to dispute that, or if you have anything to say about that. Then we have Gray Price. His 10 were Eighth Grade, Tully, Crazy Rich Asians, The Favorite, Won't You Be My Neighbor, Quiet Place, Star is Born, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, If Beale Street Could Talk, and Hereditary. And his honorable mention is Isle of Dogs. He notes Hereditary being a number one is a flex, but it stuck with him like no other horror movie because of Toni Collette's literally breathtaking performance. I couldn't agree more with that. He also notes he hasn't seen Blind Spotting, and he feels like that one could easily take the top 10, but he hasn't seen it yet. And with the weirdest list of these, we got Will Outlaw, his top 10. I'm not sure if this is in any particular order because he didn't say, but starting from the bottom, he has Jumanji, Mission Impossible Fallout, Death of Stalin, Solo, Avengers Infinity War, Eighth Grade, Annihilation, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Black Klansman, and A Quiet Place. And his honorable mention is The Hate You Give. That list is very interesting. The only one that I shared with him on my list was Black Klansman. I think all of these movies, for the most part, are great. I haven't seen a couple of the ones they listed, but these are great. Looking forward to the Oscars tonight. And when I say looking forward to, I'm looking forward to being upset because I fully expect to be upset by almost every win. I'll be posting something about that, maybe a blog. I don't know. We'll see. See you next time.